We're back at it again with some Marvel Rivals character designs. Today's theme is Rivals in Space. Marvel Rivals seems to almost be scared of the cosmic corner in the Marvel universe. Honestly, this is such an important part of the franchise, and it's kind of been ignored in most non-comic iterations of Marvel. The MCU basically sidelined it outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, and now here in Rivals, even with the multiverse and time travel, and hell, a space empire for Wakanda, we still don't get to see many of the characters from this side of Marvel. So to amend that, I'm gonna make full kits for both Thanos and Nova. I also want to thank every one of you for letting us hit 2K on the sub count. And to celebrate, we'll be making a video talking about all of your concepts and ideas. That video will get made when we hit 2.5 thousand subs, so make sure to comment on any of my videos with your pitch ideas, and it might just make it into it. As always, we'll blast through how it all works. We're going to break down both characters' movesets, we won't be going over exact numbers or stats as it's all just going to change anyway, and then finally, this is all for fun. So let me know how you would handle these guys differently. Starting off, we have the human rocket, the cosmic cop himself, Nova.
Time to go super me! I hope you don't need me to do that again soon, or in the next month.
Nova is an iconic figure in the Marvel cosmic sphere, and it's really unfortunate he never got the love he deserved in the MCU. But generally, for those of you who don't know, he has access to a cosmic power source known as the Nova Force. This empowers him and other Nova officers, kind of like how the Green Lantern Corps works in DC. The unique element here, however, is that the less people tapping into the Force means the more power one individual can pull from it. There's also a special title called Nova Prime, which lets someone basically act as a battery for the Nova Force to live inside of. Nova is going to be a strategist, but I really want to lean into the whole Nova Force gimmick and how it's stronger the less spread out it is. So he's a strategist that gets more duelist-ish when his team isn't around. The idea being he can support in a group setting, but also copes well when you're losing the team fight and he gets cornered, almost acting like a comeback mechanic. So first off, we have his Nova Blast, a basic energy bolt he fires from his hands. The classic cosmic attack everyone tends to get. This Nova Blast would both deal damage to enemies for oppressive fire, but it would also heal allies you hit with it, as his sort of basic go-to method of healing. Now of course, his abilities tie into how he maneuvers the battlefield. Firstly, we have Xandar Tactics. For those of you who don't know, this is the planet where the Nova Corps are based on. This lets him spread the Nova Force to his allies. When he uses this power, all nearby allies receive a temporary damage buff. The buff scales down as more people receive it, so if you use it on one person, it's a relatively powerful buff. But if 5 people are in range, it's negligible. So you realistically want to use this sort of power when you're targeting someone, or if you're in a team fight, you can use it on everyone, it's just not going to be as big of an impact. Nova's secondary ability is Nova Force. This creates an energy shield in front of him that absorbs incoming attacks. If it absorbs enough damage before disappearing, then Nova Blast is replaced by Nova Beam until the Nova Force cooldown ends. Nova Beam is almost identical to Nova Blast in mechanics, however, unlike it being individual fires, it's a constant laser beam, kind of like Iron Man's Unibeam. Finally, Nova has Gravimetric Shields, a cooldown that lets him boost an ally, granting them some temporary shield. Whilst an ally has shield on their health bar from this ability, they'll also have a speed boost. Basically, he's imbuing them with his sci-fi tech that lets them move quicker and it protects them a little bit. Now, Nova also has 2 constant passives, Core Charge and Human Rocket. Human Rocket represents Nova's flight movement style. He'll move around basically the same as Iron Man and Johnny Storm. Whereas Core Charge means every ally inside a set range technically lowers Nova's damage output. However, this is meant not to represent as a debuff, but instead to represent how as his teammates die off, he gets stronger. Eventually, Nova will serve his purpose as a pseudo-duelist strategist, and his ult will unlock. Nova Prime makes Nova erupt with energy, granting all allies within Core Charge range gravimetric shields and Xandar Tactics. Following this, Nova Blasts become Nova Beams, and Nova Force is replaced with Crashdown for a short time. Crashdown makes Nova rocket towards a point on the ground and explode, damaging an AoE. Basically, this ult sets him into a super mode where he goes full duelist but really powerfully, whilst also using all of his cooldowns instantly on all allies within a larger radius than usual, setting them up with shields and a nice little damage buff, whilst he himself can fly around and hurt the enemies. So with that, we have a badass strategist who can stick up for himself while supporting his allies where needed. This basically makes Nova the go-to anti-dive strategy. Now, don't forget, this is our month of madness, so expect new videos every 3 days. But if you want to see those as soon as they release, then be sure to subscribe. It helps the channel and helps you find out when videos are releasing. Of course, with the world of cosmic and space, there is one figure that comes to mind before anyone else. The Eternal Deviant, the Mad Titan, Thanos.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Now, I really hate how most depictions of Thanos just give him the Infinity Gauntlet and leave it at that. Thanos was the most feared man in the universe far before he ever got the stones. And on top of that, he doesn't need them to kick most people's asses. I also already made a way to incorporate the stones on a map in our Avengers video we did a while back. Be sure to check that out if you haven't, by the way. So I want Thanos to just be a raw powerhouse who insults his opponents by not even caring about them. His kit should revolve around simply removing people from the fight, but he rarely bothers to actually break a sweat, just raising his hands here or there, making him possibly the most intimidating Vanguard in the game. I kind of want him to exude that Injustice 2 Darkseid feeling where he moves around with his arms behind his back, you know? That being said, we have his primary attack, Cosmic Fist. The idea here is that this is both a melee and a ranged attack. When an opponent is within melee range, he hits them with his physical hand. However, when this is used, a large glowing version of his hand strikes roughly, I'd say, like 5 to 10 meters in front of him, kind of reminiscent of Iron Fist punches, but on a more notable scale and further away. This basically gives him a ranged way of hitting people as well. So if they're close up, he can hit them with his melee, then there'll be a short dead zone where they could stand where nothing's hitting, and then they're further back and he hits them with the ranged version, that big Cosmic Fist. He also has a more reliable ranged defense ability that comes with a cooldown in the form of his optic blasts. The alternate fire button has him firing lasers from his eyes as a short-timed beam attack. Both of these fires are abilities that Thanos does possess. No tech or magic or gauntlets needed. They're things that he can do as a character, so I don't see why we can't give them. Thanos will then have 2 abilities alongside these as well, kind of acting as another bubble hero, like Magneto. His first is Dead End, in which he creates an energy wall behind an enemy. This energy wall can be walked through, however, healing and attacks cannot go through it. Perfect for blocking supports or just punishing a member of a team who pushes a little too far. This goes hand in hand with his second power, Isolation. Isolation is a bubble he places on an enemy. This protects them from any incoming damage, yeah, but it also stops them from receiving any healing and from dealing damage themselves, respectively taking them out of the fight for a couple seconds. Timing this well against ults or just a pivotal turning point in a fight could be game changing. You could place this on an enemy strategist and then for about 3 seconds, your enemy team aren't getting the heals they need. Maybe you save it for when Wanda ults and you just pop it around her and now no one gets hurt by her. There's a bunch of different timings you could use this for, or maybe Black Panther's on your backline and you guys are about to turn the match, so you just need him not to kill your strategists for 5 more seconds. You pop it on him, continue the fight, and then when it goes away you deal with him. There's a bunch of different methods that this could be used, and I just think it's really fun, the idea of placing what would often be considered a helpful ability on an enemy. Finally, Thanos can use his innate cosmic awareness. This is a passive that means Thanos can see enemies' health bars without having to damage the enemy first. A small thing, but when you consider his other abilities, this could be really useful information in determining who to bubble, where to place walls, and so on. As you mitigate damage and push the fight onwards, you will eventually need to remind your opposition who is the conqueror and who is the subject. And to do so, you'll need Mad Titan. Mad Titan has Thanos summon his space throne. Once summoned, Thanos cannot take damage as he's protected by a cosmic bubble. The throne has free fly and can teleport to nearby allies. Teleporting to an ally grants him a small amount of shield or overheal, whichever fits better. After a short time has passed, Thanos Thanos will snap his fingers and the throne will fire a powerful blast forwards wherever he's facing. Following that, the throne vanishes and Thanos returns to the fight. Basically, it's a big Iron Man laser blast, but with a little warm up first where you can teleport around and help your allies out. Honestly, I think sitting back mid-fight and teleporting around watching your allies is such a Thanos move. I really do love it. Beyond that, I think he just generally exudes cockiness and awe of the mad titan himself. Thank you so much for watching. This has been incredibly fun to do as always. And stay tuned because our next Rivals video will be related to a confirmed hero. See you all next time. Thanks for watching.